Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. I have no idea. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it works. It says that I am live, and I'm showing you what I'm seeing on my computer. That's quite cool. Anyway, I'm pretty bored, so let's try to alleviate that boredom by just doing some stupid things. One thing pretty fun to do is just mess around with this paint app for a little bit. Normally, my handwriting is pretty terrible, so drawing is pretty much off the table. However, it doesn't really matter with abstract things. So, painting like this is always possible, even for people with cerebral palsy. That way, you don't make a mess of your room with actual paint or clay or anything like that. It's just like a fun, easy thing for anyone to do. Let me start a new file. I thought I would show you, just starting off. I always say that it's very difficult for someone with cerebral palsy to have good handwriting. Let me show you how bad my handwriting is. It's always harder with a mouse, but it gives you some indication. Although, when your handwriting is bad, you can always call it artistic. Gives it some artistic flair. And then maybe if you get popular, you can sell your piece. One thing I would not recommend, as I stated in other videos, if you have cerebral palsy and it affects your handwriting, you shouldn't try organic chemistry, because it won't work. You need really good handwriting to do things like organic chemistry and mathematics. If you don't have great handwriting, you're going to have a problem with mathematics, for sure. There are a lot of things that go into making somebody successful at something. And it seems at core, handwriting is one of those things. Unfortunately, you have cerebral palsy. It's really hard to become a handwriting expert or even a passable one. That's why, or one of the reasons why, I always write in cursive. There's a flow to cursive writing that helps people with cerebral palsy. I don't exactly know why it helps so much, but it does. See, there's just a nice flow. See, it's just a kind of nonsense dream. Doesn't have to make sense. It's just a boredom killer because there's nothing else to do. And maybe, who knows, maybe some people will watch. They don't have to, but maybe they will. It's always good to try things even when you're bad at them. You don't want to lose the neural connection that your brain is struggling to make. It's always better to have a bad neural connection to something than no neural connection at all. It was interesting when I was in school. I think it was middle school or something. We had a social studies teacher who wanted us to make our own country, and that included obviously drawing a country. And I just spent a lot of time just messing around, making the most obscure shape, unrealistic country you'd ever seen, with jagged edges and narrow bands. Maybe you could say it's a Mediterranean country. The Mediterranean is pretty nice. Nice weather, nice scenery. Apparently they have some troubles, but every country has troubles. Maybe I can get more viewers to this stream Then Matt Gaetz got to his stream that nobody watched. Who knows? If nothing else, it's something for me to do. The more you play around with it and the messier it gets, the cooler it looks. And you could just do this for hours. Just continually make changes without thought. The second you add thought to it, it becomes less cool. There's something to be said for just doing something without thought. It's a skill smart people could learn, because they don't do that. I feel like it could enhance your life. See, this is what you do when you're smart, but you don't have a job. You try to find ways to make your time useful. But that's a very hard thing to do. A lot of people have a job and they don't realize that if they didn't have that job, even though their job is really boring, their life would be extra boring, and they might not like their life at that point. Luckily, that's not something that most people have to think about, because most people are what you would say mindless. See, that's so bad, that's like art. It was always funny to me. I took a art history class in college, and it was just talking about basically the intentions of all these different paintings. But the coolest art comes from your dreams that make no sense. Maybe that's abstract art, but to me that's always the coolest. You dream about some alien world or something. That's always the coolest. Dream of something not of this world. Dream of something not of this world. And then maybe one day you can make this world more interesting. Make it more like your dream world. I genuinely find most of this world uninteresting, or at least the way society has us interact with the world is uninteresting. It could be a lot more fun. There are a lot of unexplored possibilities. A lot of people are very comfortable with just being average, not exploring. Most people are not the explorer type, which I don't understand. But I guess that's okay. See, so bad, it's like art. Just a free flow. Maybe this is some kind of stream of consciousness, artistic type that some people have already thought of, because it seems like no idea in this complex society is ever original. Too many people have lived and thought of so many things for any idea to be original anymore. I don't know if that's a necessarily sad thing or not, but it's definitely true. Hmm. Interesting. Why doesn't that work? Oh, it's because that's over there. Interesting. Cool. Seems like let's see. I've been watching a lot of 737 Max airplane videos recently. If you ever want an example of how Wall Street destroys the world, we'll get Boeing. Because money equals evil things. I wonder if Kanye West would be impressed by my nonsensical renderings. He's a genius. I wonder if he's still running to be president or not. That is always nuts. See, that looks like something cool, I think. Let's see. Contrast. Black and white. VC. Venture capital. Oops, well, that doesn't matter. As Bob Ross would say, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. He's a cool dude. Such a mellow voice. Isn't this background color the color of calm? I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. It's like color psychology. Let's see. Their Dow is up. That is definitely true. See, just thoughtless nonsense. That should be the title of the stream. Thoughtless nonsense. I wonder what my friend who's an artist type would think of this complete embarrassment. He would probably laugh. There was one thing I watched which was pretty cool. It was to take some nonsense like this and then to actually make it into a constructive painting. That was really cool to watch. I definitely do not have that ability, but some people do. This is more of like a kids activity or something, but it's still better than nothing. And there's some commentary mixed in there. So it's not all bad. It's a heart shape. is not true. It was supposed to represent the shape of a buttocks, probably for romantic purposes, but that's okay. Society can mess stuff up and make new meanings for things whenever they want, because nothing matters. That should be the title of the stream. Nothing matters. I wonder what kind of star shape that is. What's that? That's Theta, right? Let's see. Did you notice how a lot of the Super Bowl commercials were super serious? I thought that was pretty cool. Most of the time, they're just funny. Never serious. Always searching for the laughs. Can always find connections. false. It's funny, even doing this, which is low effort, just a fun, stupid thing to do, is actually physically tiresome. This is why disabled people don't have jobs. It's not a knock on them in any way, but reality does come. Even if you really can't see it, it always has a way of knocking you. Maybe though, it knocks you later in life. Not when you're 34 and supposed to be in the prime of your life, making money, having kids, not using a paint app on a Monday morning in your room living with your parents. But who knows? Maybe there's again, an afterlife which will maybe, possibly, probably not make this life irrelevant. That's what some people hope for anyway. I cannot write with my right hand. I can a little bit. Not really. See, I have to cross over and use my left hand because if you don't, all you get is slop. That's an interesting color. They said that was green. I guess it is, but that's a little bit different in high quantity. Q. Q for the MAGA QAnon. Crazy. I still think this stream is better than the people that play video games and somehow make money off the video game developers' ideas. This world is kind of crazy. It runs on high dose insanity. And if you don't like it, you are useless. I've been doing this for 43 minutes. That is awesome. This is like the chemical that is only visible once you scratch the surface for a while. That is some high quality art right there. I think my friend would think this is somewhat hilarious. Somewhat hilarious. Now that you have all these intersecting lines, everything has the potential to become very complex if you choose to make it that way. See, look at that. Just small changes. make difference. What did they say? What was um climate change, which apparently they think electric vehicles is the answer, but it's not. You're way past the answer. It's a bit late to care, although I do find it hilarious that Elon is failing so hard with Tesla right now. I do not understand why we anoint people with money as if they have special powers that the rest of us just don't have. It's just not appropriate. So we are all all errors. You could see even here there's an error. We are all flawed. See, I think that's art right there. This is like, I don't know, literary art or something. What do they say? They say that tortured artist. The tortured artist with no medium. Maybe that's what I am. The tortured artist with no medium. Who knows? If Trump made a painting like, if Trump did something like this, his supporters would spend millions of dollars putting it in some art show or something. Everybody telling him how great he is at performing the simplest task. Must be nice. That is what it looks like when I write with my right hand. Looks baby like. There's so many layers to this. How is that possible? There's only one viewer, or one view total, but yet the average view duration keeps going up. It should stay flat at its one-time change, but it doesn't. It's pretty interesting. I wonder what Vosh would think of this. He'd probably laugh too. I'm not sure if this would be copyrighted or not, but if you're ever bored and you have nothing else to do, there are some citizen science projects that are open to the public. It's basically like the simplest, mind-numbing stuff that you could possibly do. But apparently it does help some scientist somewhere. distance. Vast distances of space will probably never be realized in any meaningful way by humanity. I find it insane that Elon actually thinks there's going to be a Mars colony, because that is not going to happen. I think we will be a one planet species, and that is just what's going to happen. Apparently in 2070 something, there's a possibility that we get smacked by the Apophis asteroid. So that won't be a concern of mine per se, but for my little nephew, that'll be something they might have to work out. Hopefully by then, they have better technology than we do. Because we can't really make any difference right now. NASA was thinking of using a gravity tractor, but they've kind of put that idea away. I always thought it was unrealistic. Honestly, we don't even know what the future of the different nations in space really are, whether we're going to continue cooperating or not. So, there are a lot of other things to think about. Because the world is ever changing. Makes interest. Without some mess up, life becomes stale. Life is too repeatable. It's too machine-like. It's too robotic. I think that's art. It's like free form literary art or something. I don't think it's that bad. I think you get some nonsense art with some discussion. I don't think that's bad. That's free content. YouTube. Oh, one thing I did want to do. Um, yeah, let's I can I can uh I can show you this real quick. We will let this fade away. Yeah, we'll let this fade away. And we'll go up here again. I was talking about chemistry before. Just so everybody is aware. Just so everybody is aware of what I mean by this. If you do something like this, okay? So, organic chemistry is what you call three-dimensional. And when you can't draw, you have a real problem expressing yourselves or yourself in 3 dimensions. So when that becomes a problem for you, you're kind of screwed. And that's really unfortunate. But there are things in organic chemistry, for example, called chair conformations. Okay, it's like one of the first things you do. And if that's hard for you, then that's your first indication that you're kind of at a loss. So it's something like this. I'm gonna butcher this, but you get the point anyway. It's got kind of like a shape like that. Now that's terrible, of course, obviously. But you can kind of see the trick your eyes have to play. So, looking down on this, you can kind of see it's in the shape of a lawn chair. Now, this is like one of the easiest things you can do. However, I had difficulty with this. And that should have been my first indication that we were going to have a problem. Another thing that's important is something called you have dash lines and slash lines, or Actually, I don't actually. It was something like this. You have your dash lines, and then you have what they call, I believe, a wedge. So a wedge would be something like this, colored in, okay? And they would be representative of situations where you had a molecule that was supposed to be pointing out of the page in front of you, and then a molecule somewhere hidden in the back, kind of reaching outside the page in almost like a back door. I can visualize this in my head, but I cannot articulate it in a drawing. And if you can't draw, you can't do organic chemistry. And if you can't do organic chemistry, then you are not going to be a chemist, regardless of how well you do in general chemistry. You can do just fine in general chemistry, and then you can absolutely bomb organic chemistry. And it has nothing to do with your ability to memorize, although memory is important, but I contend that if you go to a good enough school, like I did, everybody's memory is just fine. So at that level, memory is not the problem. There are other things that can crop up which give you problems. But you're really not going to know these things unless you have family members who have gone to college and know how the game is played. That's why certain people have way more advantages than others. Because you really do have to know how the higher ed game is played. It's interesting. If you really think about it, the public high school I went to, I'm not going to say it was trash, because it wasn't that bad. But it does not in any way prepare you for any of the things that you have to do in college. The structure of high school, just the actual scheduling of it, is totally different. You have a bunch of easy classes all day. College is much different. You have maybe 2 to 3 long, hard classes a day, and that's it. If they were to structure high school more similarly to college, I think more kids would fare better and less kids would get intellectually beaten up and then give up. And then maybe when they give up, maybe they leave entirely or they switch to an easy major. That means absolutely nothing. I know so many people that had visions of doing hard things, interesting things, who ultimately switched to business just because it was the easy way. Because somewhere along the line, they either lost confidence in their ability or just didn't have the necessary ability to begin with to do hard. Again, I can't write with my right hand. hard intellectual things, which everybody should strive for. If you are content doing easy things in this society, you are again not going to do very well. You need to become a master. If you don't become a master, you are useless to this complex society. I think America is figuring that out now. You have to become a master at something. It doesn't matter what it is. Just become really good at one thing. Become an expert. Wow, I cannot write with my right hand. That is nuts. It shows you manual dexterity of people with cerebral palsy is absolutely non-existent. You see the word play? That's always fun. It's fun that everything turns into a jumbled art. One of the biggest jokes about high school and college is AP. AP itself is fine, but you can tell it's a joke when it's only applicable to certain subjects. You could do AP Chemistry or AP Bio or anything like that, really, in that scientific subject. You could pass the test, whatever, maybe get a 4 or 5 in high school. But you're still going to start where everybody else starts in college. They're not going to let you just skip general chemistry and go to organic chemistry. It's not like math or history or anything, where English maybe, where they're going to let you skip a semester and just put you in college writing 2 and say, okay, you're good to go, or calculus 2, and say, you are all good. Doesn't work that way. And it's not because colleges want your money. It's because AP is insufficient. It is. It is unsatisfactory. Much like this artistic rendering. You can see though, you see the difference between just printed words and cursive. Cursive, I feel like, is much more legible for people with cerebral palsy. If anybody knows why if anyone is an occupational therapist, I would love to know why that's the case. I know it is the case, but I don't know why. It seems like there's a lot of resources for people with disabilities or cerebral palsy, but a lot of the resources are super repetitive and only talk about certain things. And that is sad because there are a lot of interesting, complex things that go on in life, and it's not just watch this little kid exercise and maybe if he does this every day, he'll walk maybe 10% better than he does right now. Life is more complex than that. What happens, for example, when that child grows up? Let's say, in my case, again, 34 years old, highly intelligent, but obviously you can see slow enough in some respect that you're not going to be able to work, so you're stuck in your parents' house. What do you do in that scenario? How do you manage your psychological state in that scenario? As you watch all your friends, who some of them are much dumber than you, have more successful lives than you, in an almost astronomical sense. How do you manage that psychological state? I don't know. That's why anger is a good thing. A lot of people want to wash away the bad, rinse it off, as if it can just go away. But it doesn't. You're just ignoring it for the time being, because that's what we do. We ignore. Because we are illogical and we are greedy and we are let's see um, non-serious. That was cheap. I don't know if you can use a term like that for this type of stuff. That's okay. Oh, hmm. Maybe obtuse. Yeah. And then, let's see, we could finish this. We could say evil. There you go. What's that called? I don't know what the term for that is. There's some term for that. Illogical, greedy, non-serious, obtuse, and evil. The human condition. Let's see. HC. Human condition. This dude, Immanuel Kant, is overrated. I'm surprised not 9 people watch this. That's interesting. How long has this been? It's been an hour and 23 minutes. That's quite a long time. Time. People say don't waste time. I think time is pressure. Time puts unnecessary pressure on our psychology. It amplifies our mistakes. Cursive is so much better. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Let's see. Uh, that looks pretty interesting. Rob Bob Ross would be like, uh, there are no mistakes, but this is pretty close to one. That's pretty funny. Or maybe in this instance, we can classify this as a mistake. This is the most underrated word in the English language class. Everything revolves around that word. The way we judge people, the way we interact with people, the way we interact with the world, the way we sort things in our little computerized mind with all its bugs and everything. I wonder if I can do that or not. Oh, that's alright. Just wait. Um, yeah. The, let's see. Oh, that's interesting. I never understood. There's all these fonts you can play around with, but the only font you ever use in school is Times New Roman. That's no fun. I want some really extreme cursive font. Like, this seems pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's blow that up. It doesn't really want to. It doesn't really want to blow up. Anyway, what was that one? That was some script called Edwardian script. Cool. That's super interesting. Let's try that one. I don't like that one. I like the Edwardian. Yeah. What's this one? Harlow solid italic. Yeah, that's okay. There's so many. So much choice. That one's pretty cool. The old English text. That's cool. Parchment. That's really cool. That is. That's class. See, even when I had a job for a little bit, even just sitting for 8 hours, it's insane. Like, if you're gonna have a disability, you have to have a job that, if you were gonna actually be successful in life, you'd have to have a job that pays you so much that you could only be required to work like 2.5 hours a day. And that's just not realistic. Unless you're super popular. Which is possible. But super unlikely. So many people need to find a talent. Search for unique. That's a cool font. People need to search for uniqueness. But conformity is easy. Conformity leads to survival. Conformity is rewarded. you are rare, you are both value and valueless. This is like some interactive art piece or something. Mind, body, interaction. Who knows? Who knows? Let's start a new one. What should the color be? Let's see. What? No, that's not the right color. What is going on? Why is my app messing up? Oh, I see. Not a problem. There's never a problem. Never a problem. Everything is always non-describable in problematic terms. Language fails to capture problematic feelings. That's why people can't articulate depression very well anyway. Where was that font thing? Oh, there it is. That's a good question. That's solid. Or this. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of a fail. I don't know why it won't let me. I don't know why it won't let me grab that. That's okay. I wonder if there's a YouTube rule that says your stream can only be so stupid before they cut you off. I didn't see anything like that in the rules. But who knows? It was supposed to snow. I wonder what happened with that. Anyway, I think that's gonna be the end. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be the end. I hope the 9 viewers I got in total enjoyed the stream somewhat. That wasn't so bad. Hopefully, maybe I'll have my friend watch some of it. See if he finds some of it funny. There seems to be a lag, but I don't know. My internet isn't really the fastest, so there's gonna be some of that. Anyway, that was a little fun. It was quite interesting just to see what comes out of almost 2 hours of nothing. So, yeah, there's that. Alright, until next time, enjoy the day.